All right, welcome to What the Tech, the show that cuts through all the hype. And today, man, we are tackling the big one, the trillion-dollar question that has Wall Street absolutely sweating bullets. Is the AI bubble finally about to burst?
Okay, take a look at this quote. Does it sound familiar? I mean, really familiar. This was literally the headline from Barron's magazine right at the start of the dot-com crash back in 2000. It's a pretty chilling reminder of just how fast a boom can go bust. And you know what? A lot of people on Wall Street are hearing that exact same echo right now.
So here's the game plan. We're going to walk through exactly what's going on. First, the market shock that started all this. Then we'll dissect the AI hype. After that, the brutal ROI numbers that are causing a panic. We'll look at the red flags, and finally, what the coming AI shakeout could really look like.
All right, first up, the market shock. Let's get into the event that just sent alarm bells ringing all across the tech world. So last Tuesday, the market got hit with a major reality check. A bombshell report from MIT researchers dropped, and its conclusion was just devastating. It basically said that for most businesses, the billions they're pouring into AI are giving them, wait for it, zero return. Nothing. The market's reaction? It was swift and it was brutal.
And you can see the fallout right here. NVIDIA, the king of the AI boom, dropped 3.5%. The data giant Palantir, it plunged a massive 9%. And the big tech investor SoftBank took a 7% hit. And look, these are not just numbers on a chart. This is investor confidence literally vanishing into thin air.
Okay, so to really get why this one report caused so much chaos, you have to understand the sheer, mind-boggling scale of this AI gold rush. If you want to understand the hype, you just need to know one number. $4 trillion. That's the valuation of one company, NVIDIA. And that's not for what it's doing today, but for what investors are betting it's going to do tomorrow. This entire company's value is built on the promise of AI changing the world. It just shows you how astronomical the bet on that future really is.
And believe me, NVIDIA is just the tip of the iceberg. The predictions coming out of Wall Street are just insane. You've got OpenAI maybe hitting $500 billion. Morgan Stanley is talking about $3 trillion for new data centers. And get this, they're predicting AI will add $16 trillion in value to the S&P 500. It's what you call the inevitability myth, this idea that AI success is a sure thing no matter what it costs.
But you know what's crazy? Maybe the biggest warning sign isn't coming from some Wall Street bear. It's coming from Sam Altman himself, the CEO of OpenAI, the guy at the absolute center of this whole thing. I mean, when the person who benefits the most from all this hype tells you that investors are overexcited, yeah, you should probably pay attention.
All right, so let's dig into that MIT report, the piece of evidence that's throwing a huge bucket of cold water on this multi-trillion-dollar party.
This is it. This is the number that sent shockwaves through the market. 95%. Let that sink in. 95% of companies, after spending billions on enterprise AI, are getting zero measurable return. The money is going in, but nothing is coming out.
Okay, so if 95% are getting nothing, what's up with the other 5%? Well, that tiny little slice is the only group seeing any real success. They're the only ones whose AI projects actually make it to production and start generating value. Seriously, think about that. The success rate for this supposedly world-changing tech is 1 in 20.
Oh, but wait, it gets worse. Yeah, it actually gets worse. We're not just talking about projects that don't make money. We're talking about a full half. 50% of all corporate AI projects just failing. Outright failure, before they even get off the ground. This isn't a case of a few bad apples. This is a huge systemic problem that's stopping the tech from even being used.
And this chart just puts that disconnect into brutal perspective. On one side, you have this giant wall of money. We're talking tens of billions in corporate investment. And on the other side, that tiny little sliver, just 5%, of projects that are actually impacting the bottom line. The gap between what's being spent and what's being delivered is, well, it's staggering.
So this begs the huge question, right? Why? Why is there this massive canyon between the promise of AI and the reality on the ground? Well, the analysis points to some pretty glaring red flags. It really boils down to 3 key issues. First, the tech gains just aren't as big as everyone hoped. Second, Employees are actually going around the official expensive corporate tools. And third, the valuations in the market are just completely disconnected from reality. Yeah, let's talk about those tech gains, or the lack thereof. Investors have priced these stocks for exponential, sci-fi level improvements. But then you look at something like the recent update from ChatGPT, 4 to 5, and a lot of people just went, meh. It was seen as an incremental step, not a giant leap. And that right there just pulls the rug out from under the whole investment idea for a lot of people.
And this brings us to this really fascinating thing happening called shadow adoption. So on one hand, you've got these super expensive, clunky corporate AI systems that companies are buying, and employees, they're quietly just not using them. But on the other hand, those same employees are pulling out their own credit cards and paying for consumer tools like ChatGPT themselves. Why? Because they're faster and they just work better. So AI is transforming work, for sure. It's just not happening through the official billion-dollar channels.
So, with this massive disconnect between the hype and the reality, what happens next? Where do we go from here? Well, it sure looks like we're heading for a major shakeout.
Okay, so here's how this could play out. Short term, expect a ton of volatility. All eyes are going to be on NVIDIA's next earnings report to see if the money keeps flowing. Medium term, we're probably going to see a bunch of the smaller, overhyped AI startups either go bust or get bought up for cheap. And long term, the survivors, the real winners, won't be the ones with the best marketing. They'll be the ones that can actually use AI to solve real-world business problems.
And right now, Wall Street is completely split down the middle. You've got the skeptics, like Marco Kolanovich over at JP Morgan, who are basically saying, yep, this looks and smells like a classic bubble. But then you have the true believers, like Dan Ives at Wedbush, who are just adamant that this is a tiny speed bump and the tech rally is just getting started. It's a huge debate with literally trillions of dollars hanging in the balance.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. Is this just a little speed bump on the road to a brave new world? Or are we staring down the barrel of a dot-com crash 2.0? All the data seems to suggest the hype has flown way, way too close to the sun. The market is just now starting to wake up and smell the coffee. The only question left is, if this bubble does pop, how loud is it going to be?